Hello my fellow R's and welcome back to another episode of R's Recap with me, P-Block Scudze. Now today's video we've got a lot to get through. We've got the match review from the Coventry game last week. We've got the club statement regarding taking the knee for Black Lives Matters. We've got some player news, we've got some transfer rumours, and of course we've got the game to look ahead against Middlesbrough on Saturday. So without further ado, let's get into it. So let's start off with our game from last Friday where we were away to Coventry City at St Andrews. And I mean, you know the score by now, but you know they say that, you know, it can be a game of two halves. It was more like a team of two halves because the first half we absolutely dominated Coventry. We should have been out of sight in the first half. We didn't let them get the ball. We played some really nice football. We didn't create many chances, a couple of chances, but not many. That being said, we did score first. We did go 1-0 up thanks to a Lyndon Dykes penalty in the 41st minute. Osei was tripped in the box and it was rightly so. He got in front of the defender. You know, defender's already taken him down, so that for me was a nailed on penalty. And yet again, Dykes absolutely smashed the ball into the back of the net. You're looking at that and going, great, going in at 1-0 at half time, we'll just see it off in the second half. But no, this is QPR because in the 44th minute, we managed to let Matt Gooden equalise from a stupid set of errors by defence, which I will talk about in a minute. So going in at half time at 1-0, you know, it's a little bit disappointing to say the least. But again, you know, you're thinking we've dominated them in the first half. We'll just go out in the second half and carry it on and get the win, get the 3 points. But no, we decided we were just going to completely play the opposite as to what we did in the first half. And because of that, because of some more fatal errors in the 50th minute of the game, we managed to let Callum O'Hare get through the defence. He basically cut us open like a hot knife through butter and was basically 2 yards out, smashing it past Lumley. It was one of those goals. It was inevitable. Once he got through, it was inevitable that he was going to score. However, we did start to push back a little bit. We started to create a little bit more. And then thankfully in the 75th minute, we got a corner. Barber was at the back post. And for a centre-back, I thought he brought it down really well and then smashed it into the roof of the net past their keeper. There was no way the keeper was going to save it. So at that point, you're thinking 2-2, all right, okay. Now we're going to get it back on track. Now we're going to go and get the 3 points. If not, we'll take the draw. But we've surely got to see out the game one way or the other. But then again, this is QPR, isn't it? So in the 84th minute, it all went absolutely up. Because despite the warning signs of 2 free kicks from earlier, Carl McFadzean managed to have a free header to secure the 3 points for Coventry. And that was it. We couldn't get back after that. You know, we looked dejected after their third goal. So yeah, some things to take from. Let's say penalty, great. Dykes, you know, did what he could, but he needs to be fed more. And there was too many times where we had the ball on the wings. The guy is really tall. He's physically well fit. You know, we should be crossing those balls. We should be getting him to get up over the top of their defenders, trying to head it towards the goal. You know, testing their keeper. Too many times we didn't do that. For their first goal, it was Barber that managed to trip up a ball, completely blew our defence wide open. And for some reason, even though Lee Wallace is at left back, he decided to come into the middle and completely leave their man unmarked to, you know, head it downwards as strikers are taught to do, especially at near post. That close to goal. And for me, Lumley couldn't do much more. I mean, it went through his legs, and a lot of people were moaning about it. But to me, at that point, he's trying to make us like himself as big as possible. You know, the ball is obviously that big, you know, but when you're stretching out, it's hard to always, you know, save those like so close. So I don't think it was Lumley to blame. I think it was a mixture of Barber and Wallace. Wallace had an absolute shocking game. Considering last week I said that he had played really well in the game against Forest. This week, non-existent basically. He might as well just not been on the pitch. He didn't offer very much. Another one I was disappointed with was Chair. Too many times you got the ball and passed it back or brought it back, and this was when we was at 2-1 down. And for someone who's supposed to be and number 10 filling Ezzy's boots, really didn't do a good job against Coventry. I felt that he just wasn't that attack minded. There was times when you thought he's going to burst through, he's going to try and take them on all on, but then he'd stop and then he'd come back or go sideways, and there was just too many times I felt like he should have been pushing forward, asking the questions of their defence, looking to feed Dykes, but no, he had a very terrible game. That being said, Samuel, I thought had a really good game. He did test their lines, and just unfortunately, just didn't get the crosses in time. That was his only downside. He did sometimes take too long, and in the end he got shut out, or the cross wasn't on and he had to again pass it out, and we had to again start again. But yeah, I just felt like first half we got it all right. The second half was just so poor. Our defence had gone missing. Amos offered very, very little. The subs didn't really make too much of an impact. Smith obviously looks bright. I'm a big fan of Smith's. I still believe he warrants a place in the team, but at what part, what position, who knows? But yeah, it was definitely one of those a big come down from obviously the previous week where I was saying about celebrating being top of the league. Well, we've now dropped down to 10th because of it. But that being said, it's still only the second game of the season. So again, I'm not going to hit the panic button. I'm not going to start overly moaning about the players because it's their second game of the season. And someone had put out a very good stat. Well, I say it's a very good stat. It's probably a very poor stat, actually. That when we've played on Friday nights, we've won 1 in the last 20 games, and we've only won 1 on a Friday night. That's a little bit worrying. And obviously we've got the Sky curse, which Sky I'm going to talk about very soon. But yeah, next up we've got Middlesbrough. So hopefully we can take some lessons from the Coventry game and action them going into the game against Borough, because to me that wasn't the same QPR side that we watched against Forest the previous week. So yeah, 3-2 to Coventry. Really? And so now onto the club statement. Now, before I read out what Les Ferdinand had to say on the matter, basically Sky Sports decided to stir up the pot of controversy. Yeah, they love to do this. At the moment, they're very hell-bent on making Black Lives Matter the biggest thing since, sliced bread. Now, while I agree with, some of the Black Lives Matter stuff, I have my own thoughts and feelings, but that's my own personal views, which I don't wish to share because it's not worth the hatred, because not everyone agrees, as we know. But the taking the knee in I think it was the first 4 games back after lockdown, I completely agreed with, because that was when it was obviously it was a fresh concept. It needed people to see that there was something wrong in our culture and our communities. But obviously, this has been going on for a while now, and one of the things that Les Ferdinand did say, I actually really agreed with. But basically, at half-time during the Coventry game, Sky Sports decided to bring up, not anything about, chances or fouls or possible offsides or penalties. No, they had to bring up the fact that neither team had taken the knee at kickoff. And then someone said, it was QPR that said they don't want to take the knee anymore, trying to make out like we were like a racist club, which is absolutely hilarious. It is so hilarious they tried to do that, considering we've got a black director of football, we've got black coaches, in all the levels, we've had black managers in the past, we're in a predominant black area. Well, in fact, Shepherd's Bush is a multicultural area anyway. It's not just black people. There is Asians. There's people from all walks of life in Shepherd's Bush, White City. The charity work we've done for Grenfell. The fact we named our stadium after one of our own youth black players who got killed, and it's now named in a charity in his name for the second season running, considering it was only going to be 1. And Sky trying to make us out to be racists. Yeah, I don't think somebody was thinking that through when they decided to try and call us out on that one. But anyway, so Warburton said after the game, that both teams had agreed that it wouldn't be done. Coventry manager tried to make out that it was us and not them, but at the end of the day, it was agreed. And yeah, it's just such a mad thing that was brought up. But anyway, here is the statement from Les Ferdinand. So Les Ferdinand had the following to say. This should not be about QPR. Many clubs did not take the knee on the opening weekend, yet this was not reported. Taking the knee was very powerful, but we feel that impact has now been diluted. In the same way Clap for Carers was very emotional for us all, it got to a stage where it had run its natural course, and the decision was rightly made to stop it. Does that mean we as a nation don't care or appreciate our NHS workers? Of course it doesn't. No one is more passionate than me about this topic. I have spoken on the matter throughout my footballing life. I work for one of the most diverse football clubs in this country. A lot of people are being fooled out there. Recently, I took the decision not to do any more interviews on racism in football because the debate was going around in circles. People want a nice soundbite when something happens, but how many of the media who have criticised QPR over the past 48 hours genuinely want change? The taking of the knee has reached a point of good PR, but little more than that. The message has been lost. It is now not dissimilar to a fancy hashtag or a nice pin badge. What are our plans with this? Will people be happy for players to take the knee for the next 10 years but see no actual progress made? Taking the knee will not bring about change in the game, actions will. Those media that have been quick to question us should be looking more inwardly. Our under-18s were forced to abandon a game in August 2019 against AD Nevium FC due to racist abuse. More than 12 months on, UEFA refused to deal with the situation and the Spanish FA did nothing. What media coverage has been given to that? Not nearly as much as what has been granted to QPR not taking a knee. Don't judge us. Simple research and evidence will show you we are doing more than most. If you want change, judge for yourselves. And so after the Les Ferdinand, Lee Hughes basically echoed what Les said and also, basically pointed out that if people don't get it, if they don't get that, this is still a thing that we're still very much, focused on, especially with their community work and charity work. If people don't get it, then they need to take a look at themselves and ask themselves the question, are they doing enough, to change matters on this? But I will want to ask you guys, do you agree with QPR's stance on this? Or do you think they should have taken a different approach? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this matter. And now we've got some brief player news. We have had one player sign a new contract this week, and it is Seny Dieng. He is our third choice keeper, if you are not aware. And he signed a new contract that will last until 2024. After he signed the contract, he said, there is healthy competition in the goalkeepers. Ultimately, my goal is to play for QPR, and I'm willing to fight for my place. So that's good. That's refreshing. He's still quite young, so I think he will feature at some point very, very soon. At the moment, Lumley is doing okay in my book, so I can't see him being replaced. Kelly, for some reason, is back on the bench, so I don't know what exactly is going on in that department. But no, it's good to see that we've still got a young, healthy goalkeeper who many believe has got the great potential to be the number one at some point in his career. So now on to the transfer rumours, and basically it's an update on two of the players we've been looking at, and also updates on two of our current players and their contract negotiations. So first of all, QPR had a second bid for Macaulay Bonne turned down. This was believed to have been in the 1 to 1.5 million price range. Whether they'll go back for a third bid or not, it's not quite clear yet. But I think at the moment Charlton are really holding out for either bigger money or to keep the player for the season. So there's not much more movement on that one other than the second bid being rejected. And secondly, it is Jordan Jones is the other rumour. This one again has been going on. He's still very much on QPR's radar. There's been a mixture of rumours attached to him in this sense. That one is that he's very much close to becoming a QPR player. Others are saying that it's still very much nowhere near a done deal. So again, we've got to watch this space on both those players. And then moving on to two players that are currently having contract talks are, first of all, Bright Asai Samuel, and the other one is Ryan Manning. Now, the good news is with Asai Samuel is that he's actually, in fact, very close to signing a new deal. He's now realised that the Eze route is the better option, that he signs on and then clubs will look at him more. He's already been playing so far in the first 2 games this season, so he's still very much a part of Warburton's plans. I personally would love him to stay. I've said in very much past videos that I believe that he can be our star player this season. The other player though is Ryan Manning, and again I've mentioned about that he was changing agents and that's why it was taking a little bit longer. One rumour was that Blackburn were coming in for him, but that's now been quashed by Tony Mowbray, who said, no, it's not a name that is on my list. That's just a name that you've thrown at me trying to make a news story. So fair enough to him. But yes, it does sound like that he's very much far away from signing a new contract. He did feature for the under-23s this week against Ipswich Town, actually scoring a goal as well in the 5-0 win. But I think it's safe to say we won't be seeing him in the first team anytime soon. And again, to me, that's a shame because I like Manning. I think he plays a really good role. I definitely pick him over Wallace every week, especially after Wallace's performance against Coventry. But yeah, it's going to be a shame if he does go because that is a big void we need to fill. And at the moment, we're not linked with any left backs or wing backs for that matter. So yeah, watch this space. But that's it for the rumours of this week. I'm hoping we'll have some new rumours to talk about. And now, lastly, we look ahead at the game against Middlesbrough at the Kiyan Prince Foundation Stadium on Saturday. Now, we come up against a Middlesbrough side who have God as their manager now, Neil Warnock. Unfortunately, he did test positive for COVID, but it is rumoured that he will actually be at the game on Saturday. This will be his first time back since he was diagnosed and has been in self-isolation. Now, Middlesbrough, they kicked off their campaign against Watford, losing 1-0, and they managed to grab a draw last week against Bournemouth. They are currently sitting in 17th place. Noticeable players to be looking out for is Assombalonga, Fletcher, and of course the ex-QPR defender Grant Hall, who has adapted to life okay, I suppose, at Middlesbrough. I watched the game against Watford and I don't think he had the greatest of games, but there you go. So hopefully he doesn't have a good game against us on Saturday. Having watched the pre-match press conference, Mark Warburton has said that after last week's performance where we didn't have the cutting edge and we gave away soft goals, that is something they are going to be working on have been working on in training this week. He's also said that there are no new injury worries, so he has got the full squad available to pick from. What team he's going to pick, I really don't know. After Wallace's performance, I seriously would think about bringing Manning back in for this game. Give Wallace a rest in that sense. As for the midfield, I don't think there's going to be much change there, and obviously the forwards, again, there won't be much change there. So I can pretty much bet on that it's going to be the same starting 11 again for the last 2 games, but there may be 1 or 2 changes. Now, last season when we took on Middlesbrough at home, we drew 2-2, and in the away fixture we beat them 1-0. So we do have a fairly good record against Middlesbrough. My personal feelings on the matter is I would take a draw on this one because Middlesbrough are going to pop at some point and get and start scoring some more goals. But it is very much still a winnable game if we actually turn up, if we're very consistent this time, not play well in the first half and not in the second half. If we're consistent enough and we do actually find our cutting edge and actually create the chances, then I think it is a winnable game. But, you never know with QPR, so it's a case of watch this space. But guys, let me know in the comments below, do you think QPR is going to win? Do you think we're going to draw? You can give me your score predictions if you want. As you know, I don't do them myself, but I'm always happy to read what everyone else thinks. So yeah, leave it in the comments below what you think the result or the score is going to be on Saturday. Well, that's it for this week's episode of Ours Recap. I hope you've enjoyed it, guys and girls. If you have, make sure you hit that like button and you hit that subscribe button too, so you can keep up to date with all my videos as and when they happen. But yeah, it's been a bit of a roller coaster week. I'm hoping next week's a little bit more calmer, a little bit more exciting, but this is QPR. You never know what is going to happen with us. But yeah, thanks for watching as always, guys, and as always, come on you Rs.